When it comes to running a successful business and leading teams to success, the key ingredient is a simple one: well-trained and passionate employees. Author of The Agency Blueprint, the business system that leads to success, Robert Patton, he's our guest, and he's here to discuss. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me.
So what motivated you in the first place to write The Agency Blueprint?
At one point not too long ago, I was meeting with a client and he was having a reflection of the 12-month period that we had been working together. And he said something along the lines of, if it weren't for you, I likely would have lost my business. If it weren't for you, I likely would have lost my house. And if it weren't for you, I likely would have lost my marriage. This was a extremely humbling experience for me and caused me to reflect on how much impact that I could potentially have on more business owners if I were to write a book and publish it to the masses.
Well, and it seems like a no-brainer, right? Employee training is essential to growing a business, but a lot of business owners and managers don't really know the full scope of what it takes and what really qualifies as a well-trained employee, right? What's your perspective on that?
So one of my perspectives on this is that training is so pivotal to allowing a business to scale, especially when you're in a service-oriented business. And that if you're not able to bring on team members and able to train them as you grow, you're essentially handcuffed or capped to the size that you're able to grow to.
And if you had to advise business owners, obviously there's a lot in the book and you have clients that you've advised over the years, but what tips can you offer now for small business owners to make that training simpler and more effective?
Sure. As I mentioned, automation is key to this. And when you look at training, a lot of it's very repetitive and can be very expensive for especially small business owners when you look at it, because you have duplication in efforts in both the trainer and in the trainee. So the more that you can have a cataloged training process that's documented for each position that you have within your business, allows for better scalability and allows for a lot of cost savings. So one of the things that I recommend frequently to clients is having short form, 5 minutes or less videos that allows for each person. So when someone's onboarded, you have a catalog of the information that they're going to need to get up to speed on your process, up to speed on the different programs that you're using within your business.
So essentially, you're making a manual for these positions, right? Is that a good way to look at it?
Yeah, exactly. You're making a manual that allows for each person to be able to access whenever they need and get refreshers whenever they need. One thing that a lot of clients and people that I've worked with have suggested is, I don't really have the time to sit down and create this catalog. And why the videos has become a big thing that I suggest is that when you're onboarding a new team member, you can actually record that training that you're having specifically with that person to allow for you to not only utilize that time to train that person, but also allows for you to utilize it to train the next as well.
And say an employee needs, more support. What do you recommend to business owners as far as giving them the right support and the right engagement, basically, with the employee to help them through whatever they're stuck on?
Sure. So the thing that I think is key to understanding here is that training really isn't linear. It's not that once someone's trained, they're going to remember it forever. And it's a bit more of a wave. So immediately after the person has been introduced to that content, they're going to remember it the best at that point. And over time, they're going to forget. They may revert back to old habits from previous positions. And allowing them to have access to that training material as they need for refresher is extremely key to the success of any employee.
Well, and of course, keeping a team motivated is very important. It helps to strengthen those results. In the last 20 seconds, what's a quick way to motivate the team?
I'm a firm believer that continuing to keep your team members curious and have them always wanting to expand their knowledge. And one of the ways that I go about doing this is through base gamification, right? So I personally in my own business have access to an online platform that has a plethora of different training materials. And the way that we gamify it is by tracking how much time each person is spending and the different courses that they've completed, and surprising people that have completed courses with a surprise gift that's suitable to them and allows for people to be rewarded and allows people to celebrate people expanding their knowledge.
A lot of great advice. Robert Patton, you're offering a copy to our viewers. I'm going to let them know how to get that now. Thank you for your time today. And if you'd like to grab a free ebook copy of The Agency Blueprint, the business system that leads to success, just visit creativeagencysuccess.com/resources.